Hello and welcome to my presentation on onboarding versus productivity, diversity, and quality, an empirical study of the OpenStack ecosystem. OpenStack is an open source software ecosystem comprising about 100,000 community members supported by 693 companies distributed across 182 countries. They produce 20 million lines of code by 625 developers team. There are over 63 core projects involved in a rapid release cycles that happening every 6 months. How can a new contributor get involved and start contributing to such a complex software ecosystem? This is where the onboarding program comes handy. An onboarding program is a socio-technical adaptation of new contributors into a software community. Thus far, prior works focused only on the individual level onboarding program. Nothing is yet known about a SECO-level onboarding program. SECO onboarding program involves two phases. Phase 1 comprises an in-person event followed by a series of mentorship between mentors and mentees. In this study, we aim at understanding the process and impact of the onboarding program in open source software ecosystem. We've used mixed method research to observe first 72 new participants who are aiming at joining the OpenStack ecosystem to identify the activities, challenges, and perceived benefits of SECO onboarding on new contributors. Phase 2 comprises of a quantitative study on 100,281 contributors to validate the perceived benefit in terms of contributors' diversity, productivity, and quality. Details on our methodology and results are available on our paper online. In the first part of our study, we did participant observation of 72 new contributors. The in-person events comprises of 2 days of activities. Day 1 focuses on theoretical knowledge, followed by hands-on sessions on day 2. Both day 1 and day 2 were recorded using audiovisual equipment. Further, we transcribed the data and applied qualitative analysis on this transcribed data. We also used an affinitive diagram to show how themes were emerging from the transcribed data. In total, we obtained 43 main themes that emerged from the transcribed data describing onboarding program. We further divided these 43 themes into 3 main categories, such as the teaching contents and strategy, onboarding challenges, and onboarding benefits. Besides, there were 3 subcategories describing the teaching contents and strategy. For example, conceptual knowledge, and example code is SECO processes and tool concept. Second subcategory, practical knowledge with example code, quality assurance activity. And the third subcategory describes the strategy which mentors were using to train mentees. Besides this, there were 13 main challenges that SECO onboarding faces. For example, there are vast expertise needed for SECO project, the mentorship, sustainability, and the soundness of the return on investment. Despite all these challenges, there were potential 8 benefits describing a SECO onboarding program. For example, mentoring enhanced diversity and inclusion, mentoring enhanced productivity, mentoring enhanced SECO best practices, and quality assurance. Based on the amount of time which mentors and mentees spend on activities and the time also that authors spend in coding the transcribed data, 3 of these 8 onboarding benefits we use to provide quantitative evidence. In this second part of our study, we follow the timeline of OpenStack. OpenStack was created in 2010 and onboarding introduced 4 years later. Contributors who joined the OpenStack ecosystem between these 2 time intervals form our control group, which we categorize them as the category 1 contributors. Those who joined OpenStack after an onboarding was introduced, we had 2 such categories, category 2 and 3. For category 2, which is our experimental group 1, these are contributors who did not also participate in any onboarding program, even though onboarding existed at OpenStack at this time. Category 3 form the experimental group 2, which are those that were actually onboarded. In the 3 matrices, higher level metrics in our study, which are productivity, diversity, and quality, we measure each of those metrics comparing category 1 and category 2, those people with no onboarding experience. If we found no significant difference, we go further to compare category 3 and category 2. Therefore, any significant difference on this comparison will correlate to the onboarding program. Details on these are available on our paper online. In total, we found 427 contributors who participated in an onboarding program. Based on this number, we applied stratified random sampling on both category 1 and 2 without any onboarding experience to obtain equal amount of number. In total, we obtained 1,281 new contributors. On a 3 years activity time frame, we measure this new contributors' activity on the issues tracker, the Git, and the code review data set of OpenStack. In addition, we obtain access to the internal data set of OpenStack, also to measure the contributors' gender diversity. In our result, we show that onboarding correlates to more feasibility on the female and non-binary category in the SECO, in the software ecosystem. Indeed, 65% more gender diversity in the female and non-binary category. Onboarding contributors also got hired faster. For example, a median of 33 days to be hired as compared to 212 days for those without onboarding experience. Those who did onboarding contributed to 3 or more projects at any given time. In fact, 84.6% of these onboarded contributors, as compared to 82.7% who contribute only to 1 project at any given time. In terms of patch acceptance rate, those with an onboarding experience easily have their patch into the code base with an increased patch acceptance rate. For example, we show the beam plot. The highlighted line shows the median line, and we could observe here that those with onboarding saw an increase in terms of patch acceptance rate. In fact, female outperform other gender in terms of with large effect size in terms of the patch acceptance rate. For retention rate and time to first commit, onboarding correlates with a 16% longer average retention rate, and onboarding also correlate with a median of 45% for the female, 35% for male and non-binary in terms of the time to first commit. Therefore, onboarding contribute more quicker and stay longer in the software ecosystem. In terms of software quality assurance, we measure quality and bug-inducing commit. For both the effort, onboarding contributors require less attempt to get their commit acceptable and mesh into the code base. We show the median line, which clearly shows that those with in category 2 in green have higher effort and higher bug-inducing commit. To summarize our metrics in this study, we use a radar chart for diversity, quality, and productivity. For diversity, the different metrics we use were the gender diversity, technical diversity, and corporate diversity shown in red. Quality, we measure bug-inducing commit and the effort shown in black. And for the productivity, we measure the time to first commit, retention rate, patch acceptance rate, and density, we measure in orange. The black dotted line shows the data point when we compare to, these 2 categories. And in the diversity and the time to first commit category, most of the time we see that category 3, the onboarding perform better because the higher value, the better. Unlike quality, where the category 2, those who have no onboarding experience, had higher value. In this category of metrics, the higher value shows less performance. In conclusion, this paper, we studied onboarding program at OpenStack. We did a mixed method research, first by observing new contributors joining the software ecosystem. Based on the observed data, we found 8 potential benefits associated to SECO onboarding. 3 of such benefits we provide quantitative evidence on. And based on this evidence, we observed that onboarding saw those who went through an onboarding program saw an increase in terms of diversity, both in the 3 categories for gender, technical, and corporate diversity. They contribute high quality code and less bug-inducing code. And also they were more productive in terms of time to first commit, retention rate, patch acceptance rate, and density. If there's any question, I take it at this time.
Hi. So welcome again to the open source participants motivation Q&A, this time for the paper Onboarding versus Diversity, Productivity and Quality. an empirical study of the OpenStack ecosystem. This is Gregorio Robles from the Universidad Rey Juan Carlos in Madrid, Spain. And we have got here Armstrong and Bram, who are co-authors of this paper. So you can put your questions there in the chat while you type your questions in. I have one so that the presenters warm a little bit up. So OpenStack is a highly industrialized project with lots of companies and so on. So onboarding should be affected by that, I guess. So I guess even if it's a big ecosystem, I guess there are other ecosystems with not that many companies. And the thing is, for instance, having so many companies, and given that there is a shortage of talent in the IT industry, do the companies use this onboarding for their own employees first? And second, do the companies use this onboarding to attract new employees? I mean, they see, oh, this developer is good, so we hire him. Have you seen that in your study?
Well, so I'll let Armstrong answer these questions because he's the expert.
Yeah. Hello. Can you just repeat it? The line breaks up.
Okay, sorry. So the thing is, onboarding, when you have many companies,
yeah,
no, the joining process. Companies they want they can also make their employees join the ecosystem. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they can see that external people join the project and then they hire them as employees. So have you seen these both things appear in your study?
When you say external, like independent contributors working like volunteers.
Exactly. They start as volunteers, and myself, I go to OpenStack, and then I do this this onboarding process, and then I don't know what company Red Hat is there. Sees this, we want to hire this person, and have you seen it? And is it quite frequently? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Based on this paper, and we did, especially the category of contributors that we joined OpenStack after onboarding, we noticed that companies were more interested or hired more of the people after their onboarding trip. I'm not really sure of cases where we found people who came from a company, even though we did some filtering, people with prior knowledge to filter them out from, because that will introduce some bias for these phenomena we are studying. But most of the cases that we studied for this paper are people who are joining the ecosystem for their first time.
For the first time, yeah.
Yeah. Then either they choose to go to the onboarding program, or they do not, or they just join things out for themselves. Then after a period of time, they are now hired by companies.
And is that frequently? Does that frequently happen that they are hired by companies?
Yeah.
So it happens quite frequently. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So we have one question in the chat by Arthur, who says, he asked, when sampling each category, how do you minimize threats related to overall changes in society? Because he says the later you sample in comparison to 2014, the more likely it may be that there is more consciousness about non-binary people and gender bias nowadays.
Yeah, we rely on the reported gender. So we relied on this data that exists on the other ones. So we just have to report things the way they are.
Yeah. However,
so when
but actually, there's also one thing though. Maybe that also answers with the questions that there's actually three groups we compare to each other. There's the before onboarding was introduced. That was like really older data, let's say, and there potentially could be bias. However, after the point where they introduced onboarding, we have two groups. We have the group that actually took the onboarding, actually did it, and the people who said, no, we could do onboarding, we don't want to do that. And that group, actually, that's also a modern recent group of data. That group we compared to the older group. And there we every time we check, is there any difference in distribution and so on? And there we did not find that. So it means the threat that there is this kind of change in how people report about gender seems to be relatively low in this sense. That's why we have this control group to check for that.
Okay, thank you. So the lessons learned from your research that is specific about OpenStack, which is highly industrialized. I don't know how many companies are working on OpenStack. Hundreds of companies, maybe 1,000 companies. How would this be in an ecosystem without companies? What would you say would be different?
Without the companies?
Yeah, in a different ecosystem, just imagine, so GNOME, there are very few companies. What things that you have learned would you say, oh, this would be different there?
I strongly believe it will be different in the sense that, let me take, for example, the release cycle is driven right now by the activities of the companies. And that hugely depends not really on the community level, but that of the companies. So the way the companies are driving the designs of new features and things like that, they try to follow a way of balancing, because currently the debate just arose. Some companies want things to go 9 months, some 12 years, some are asking for 3 months. So in order to bring a better spot, so they choose to go in to maintain the 6 months. That will answer the questions of the people who are really like pulling things away. And you see all this pressure is coming most often from companies. If we remove these companies away, the projects will still survive, but I strongly believe the rate at which development is happening might not be coordinated the way it is today. Or people who want things to go so crazy, they want to test their proof of concept. There are a group of developers who really wants to ship new features and things like that. But because companies are also involved, so there is this kind of balance that happens all the time. But to concretely say things will change, yes, definitely it will change. Because I'll remember no dominant company really even is involved. Ubuntu, many others are involved. No particular company has the biggest share, or more than 50% that they can detect. That's the beautiful thing with OpenStack.
Yeah.
However, there's also the other thing is that even if there's no companies involved, you still have the issue that you have this ecosystem of projects with their own technical details, but you also have this overall vision that's still there, this overall kind of practices. And as a newcomer, you have to get used to both the overall common processes and the project-specific ones. So that kind of gap, you still need to address in like an ecosystem level onboarding. That will still remain, even without companies.
Yeah.
Did you talk to the OpenStack people and tell them about your results? Have you done that?
Yes, it's on Twitter as well. And I spoke with the coordinators of the onboarding program and also the technical council, technical committee people. They were very impressed because this is the first ever study to measure the impact of what they have been doing. So,
okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what did they say? I mean, are they going to change anything in the program because of the feedback?
Well, I think like what the main coordinator told me, she said they will have to present this as well to the TC and the